Because if you just establish that one goal, like 6 months from now, that's the only thing that matters. Yeah, but there's certain steps to get to that end goal 6 months from now. It's just a good reminder to like, oh, look, we're 2 months out of 6 months in, but look how much we've already accomplished.
Hmm.
That's the way at least I look at it.
And whether it's together you've accomplished it or
Mm-hmm.
individual,
Mm-hmm.
you know, having there are times where even just little dinners that we make at home,
Mm-hmm.
we'll buy a glass of wine and just cheers. Cheers to the week. Cheers to making sales. Cheers to new clients. We're always in a gratitude state. And just like in the Bible, they talk about when you're in a gratitude, grateful state, you're going to be given more. You're going to be blessed with everything else because God, universe already sees how thankful you are.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Purpose Over Pleasure podcast with your host, Alex Payne. And today we have my lovely partner, my fiance, is back.
Hello.
And today we have a little special episode for you guys. We always brainstorm on different things that we want to talk to you guys about. And today's episode of His and Hers is dedicated to dating your partner.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because if you're not dating your partner, you're in for a shit show.
Yeah, we're gonna give you guys some good tips, some good techniques, some good habits, some of the things that we do in our relationship to keep it healthy, keep it going, keep the fire going,
Individually. Things that we do individually
and together. And
and
together.
together.
So stay tuned. But before you do that, please click like, share, and subscribe, and share this with your friends. Really appreciate you guys' support and being a part of this journey with us. Let's jump into it, babe. Dating your partner.
Yes.
Why are we still dating?
Why are we still dating?
Yeah.
Because we're dating. And what dating means is I get nice and pretty and you.
Like you are today?
Thank you. You call the shots. You either plan it ahead of time or you surprise me and say, babe, I need you to be ready by this time.
Mm-hmm.
We're going somewhere. I want to surprise you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's fair. Why is it important for a man to plan things?
Why? Because it allows a woman to remind herself that a man's taking charge. He's taking the lead. Women, it's like, it takes the weight off of our shoulders to plan something. Because if you're a mom, you're having to plan everybody else's life.
Mm-hmm.
So when a husband, a partner can plan certain things, it takes things off of a woman's plate and it makes her feel more feminine. We're like, I don't have to do this. And then when he opens the door and then when he drives, it's just a day off for some women, for some wives, mothers. And for a lady like myself, it reminds me of how you take charge and how I love that you do those little things for me. Because there are times where I plan things or I surprise you. But when you take charge and you take a lead, it just makes me melt.
Why do people lose the fire in their relationship?
Because they lose the fire within themselves.
All right, elaborate on that.
If when you're unable to love yourself, you're unable to love other people. So for everything that we do, we have to go back to the source. And what is the source? Us. We are the source.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're feeling in a loving, divine state as women, our love pours onto other people, which is our partner. So when we're loving and supporting our partner, it's going to bring him more peace and it's going to encourage him to go after what he's really, truly happy about or has a purpose for. So like yourself, you are doing your Purpose Over Pleasure podcast. You love it. You are like gung-ho about it. And even when you have situations where it's unstable and you're like stressing, I'm in my divine state and I love myself. I'm able to pour love into myself first, which then pours into you because you are who you mirror. And when you're mirroring love within, it's only natural for it to come out in your partners, in your relationships, in your family. So by me doing that for myself, I'm able to do that for you. And when you're feeling in your divine masculine state, meaning feeling in your purpose, doing work that you enjoy, and you're able to come home and be peaceful, it's a win-win. So after you've been working hard and you tell me, oh, we're going to dinner, I know that's because you want to, take me out to dinner. You want to, you work so hard. And what brings you joy is feeling and seeing me look at my best state. I'm dressed up. You record your little videos of me when I'm walking, and that's appealing to you. And it's a reflection of who you are and who I am.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I did notice that in general, I would say it's a good thing to take your woman out on a date, because when you allow your woman to dress up and look all pretty, it does help bring out the feminine out of her. Well, in this case, I'm talking about you. It's the term you mentioned earlier. It's showing up for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's important, and it keeps the relationship going, because it's very easy to fall into the mundane everyday routine, and especially, for example, for us, right? I like to eat homemade food. I prefer eating homemade food. So staying at home and cooking at home is actually a better deal for me than eating out.
Right.
However, at least once a week, we have our date night day
Mm-hmm.
where we dress up and go out and dedicate time to each other, talk about things. I believe it was Jordan Peterson. He said, I think you need to spend at least 90 minutes a week with your partner
Mm-hmm.
to talk about the life things,
Getting to know your partner. That's why you date,
whatever is
is
going on.
to get to know them. Ask them questions. What's going on? How's work? How's your stress level? Um, what's a way so that we can keep the household at peace? Of your routines, or what did I tell you today? Can you send me, what to print out my morning routine, because I need to create a better morning routine.
Miracle morning routine. Yeah.
So it's keeping each other accountable in those things so that we can feel our most greatest.
Another important reason why I believe couples should have date nights is it gives you something to look forward to.
Yes, it's like a goal.
Yeah. That's what I always do. There's
Mm-hmm.
always something, whether it's an event, whether it's something that we plan, whether it's something that's coming up, we're supposed to always, whether it's somewhere we're supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
it always gives us a reason to look forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates excitement. And
And
it
that's
changes that
what.
mundane life into a more colorful, vibrant relationship.
And also the fact that we keep each other accountable with the gym.
Yeah.
When we work out, we start seeing our body change. We're like, oh man, like I like it. And then when we wear certain things, it makes us feel good, right? Like I like now that my back's been backing.
Yeah, she's
I
been she's been focusing on her back a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, those nice guns, babe.
I want to wear things that make and it just make me feel feminine. I worked hard in the gym. I didn't work hard to just wear sweats. That's
I
ridiculous.
work hard in the gym.
So before I get old and, have kids, it's not going to stop. But I have this young body for a reason. I'm going to wear nice clothes because it makes me feel. I'm not going to be wearing like crazy ass things that are going to like be flaunting everything out. No, but the curves, the nice. I enhance my skills, my body.
Your body.
I'm
Oh,
trying
well
to do
said.
it more.
'Cause, sometimes I've heard this on the web that these girls like justifying their hoish behavior by stating that you're only gonna be young once, you're only gonna have this body once. Do what you want to do. Go out there, sleep with whoever you want to sleep. Why do you think that's so wrong? I mean, there's a point that you have to enjoy your body. I mean, like I said, you work out hard and you eat right and you work for your body. But where does the line become crossed when this goes like YOLO type of thing? I'm gonna do whatever I want to do.
Well, when you're thinking that YOLO type, you're being rebellious. Okay?
Stacking up body count is a rebellious thing.
I would say so.
So you telling me that hoes are rebels?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because they're in this mental state that I can get any man. Okay, cool. Why do you have to go and vocalize that you have hundreds and you're banging all these guys? That's not very
I can't believe
ladylike.
that's a thing now. I never thought.
It's because that's women and they're masculine. That's what do men do? What do these guys do?
Yeah, but
They
that's
gloat
that's
about it.
part of the
Okay.
masculine thing because there's a reason behind it. Because for men, in order to be able to get multiple women, it requires work. It requires certain attributes, certain characteristics, certain accolades. You're not just born and you walk out on a T-shirt and now you're Rico Suave picking up any girl you want. No, you have to acquire a certain set of skills,
Okay.
accolades, money, things in your life where now you have the status where you can go out there and acquire all these girls.
Okay.
For women, they don't have to do any of that shit.
That's what I'm saying is these women who are doing this are because they are in a masculine state. So do you see where I'm going
Yeah,
here?
no, I agree with you. I
So
agree with you.
that's they're because they're in their masculine state. They're saying like, oh, I have this amount of men, or I can get any man because I make X amount of dollars. That's how you know a woman by nature is in her masculine state.
Okay, so what about all these broke O's who still act the same way?
Again,
They're
are in
not
their
making.
masculine.
Yeah, but they're not making money though. They're just masculine.
So what
They're
happened?
broke masculine women.
Okay, you fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah, there's nothing to fake. Then like, okay, fake it till you make it thing is if you're doing something with your life and you moving towards it. But there's literally dozens and dozens of videos of like mediocre women who come from nothing, still live with their parents, drive broken cars, work at Wendy's, but they expect to be dated and courted by successful men, and that doesn't make any sense now. That they're still masculine, but they're broke. Because you said yourself, financially well off women who are in their masculine. No, but
There's the girls, the
there's
304s that are like banging all these guys, and
they're still broke.
right, because they're broken inside.
I noticed there's a lot of for some reason, based on all these videos, there's a lot of sisters out there who act this way. It's almost like, y'all separate into categories now. Like you expect a certain type of dude, but you yourself don't bring absolutely anything to the table, and then they expect it to be dated and courted and all that stuff.
Because I believe that when they start thinking that way, these women are in this mind state of, yes, queen, I provide the kids and stuff like that, and they think that their coochie bakery is
Coochie bakery.
the is the
Coochie.
key.
Yeah.
Because then when they pop out these kids, they see dollar signs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's alimony and baby daddies.
But
and,
again, when
money,
you're
child
in that
support.
mental state, that just means you're broken inside.
Yeah.
Because if you really think about it, if you love yourself, you genuinely want to bring on more value, you're going to take care of yourself. You're not going to be worried about somebody else. But when you don't love yourself, you're giving your energy to other people, which is
True.
spreading your legs.
Coochie bakery.
And then you pop out the coochie goblins.
Wow. Goblins. Wow. Your terminology today is something else. Let's
Sorry.
get back to dating.
Ah.
There's another thing you talked about earlier that when you date your partner, that gives you an ability and gives you a chance to fill up each other's cup.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get to fill your love cup and you get to fill my love cup.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that. How is it that the cups gets filled up?
Okay, so when I'm in my divine state, my loving state, right? I'm taking care of the house. I'm taking care of you. I'm supporting you. I'm loving on you. I'm doing things to bring us closer together, right? Because you need peace. You need a peace at home. Because when you're peaceful by yourself, right? You're aligned with what your purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to focus more on providing for you and I, for our household. But when your mind is like scattered with stress and worry in your household, that's going to crumble every other project you have going on in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're out there being a badass, doing all the hard work that you enjoy doing, you're proud of your hard workings, the money you receive, and you're like, I want to give back to her for loving on me and supporting me. So I want to take her to a nice dinner, or I want to take her away for the weekend. I want to go get her gift cards and she go shopping on her own. Because it's an exchange of energy. That's what we're doing for each other. But when both of us are not in our divine state, we're unable to do that for one another. So this is why it's really important, the ladies, focus on being your own loving, divine, feminine self. Not this, I don't need a man, fucking man. Yes, that I had that mentality back in the day, but because I didn't have a right masculine provider to instill that in me. I love my father, but my father, it was hard for him. I don't blame him, but that encouraged me to have standards for myself so that I don't have that in my partner. But I couldn't attract that if I wasn't already loving in on myself. You couldn't feel it if you didn't love on yourself.
Yeah, it would feel like it's not enough.
Exactly.
You would seek love and validation somewhere else.
Exactly.
No, that's true. That's true. It definitely does matter. You know, when one partner is loving into another partner, or they're loving into each other, it's the exchange of energy that matters.
Yep.
And also what's important about dating each other is that you get to have fun with each other.
Oh yeah. You have to be a kid.
Yeah.
That's why I pay attention to what it is that you enjoy doing. Like, I know you like to do things of what I want to do, but I also want to make sure that we're doing things that you want to do, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to have dates, to ask these questions, to ask, okay, so what is it that you've always or haven't done in a long time, or what is it that can make your life easier, or bringing you back to that divine state of a kid. What happens when you're a kid? You get all the love, right? So we have to make sure that we're able to fill each other's love tank so that you're feeling your most better self. You're more like positive. You're like, okay. Or if you have a challenge, okay, babe, is there anything that I can help you? Maybe you need some time, go on a walk, go to the gym, go get back to yourself where you're grounded and you're centered. Because when you're not able to focus on your job. You're not able to focus on your purpose.
Women are so focused on trying to be a controlling type, and trying to be a equal 50% in partner for their man. They don't realize that if they just fall back into their feminine, they're gonna have a lot more stake in the relationship.
Yep.
The man is not gonna come for an advice. A good, strong, confident, masculine man is not gonna come for an advice to a woman who's in her complete masculine.
Yeah.
A masculine man will look for feminine energy in a woman. What happened to you when you fell back into your feminine? I start coming to you for advice more often. I started valuing your advice more. I started listening to you more, because that's your natural energy. That's the aspect of life that I don't perceive with my eye, that I don't catch, and you do. So I come to you for that. Had you remained in your masculine for forever or for a long time, I'll just be like, listen, this is not gonna work out. If I need to ask a guy for advice, I'll ask a guy for advice. I don't need another form of a male in my household. I need another perspective. So they don't realize that.
And I don't want to have to be in my masculine. It's like I don't like it. Like why I grew up with hostility. Why would I want that in my household?
It's just like, it's simple. Men compete a lot, right? Competition drives progress. We naturally compete with each other. We compete with each other. We compete for women. We compete for position in a tribe. Why would I want to go home and compete in my own house?
But
For
there
what?
and it's crazy that you say that because there are some men who don't know how to turn off their competition with their partner.
Probably yeah. Probably yeah. There probably are some men who.
Because I'll be honest, when we first started dating, I noticed that.
It wasn't so much that the competition. I think it was me establishing certain level and boundaries in our relationship.
Right.
I needed to make sure that existed before I let my guard down and start become vulnerable.
Right. Well, it goes the same for a woman. A
Yeah.
wise woman who knows she's not going to get walked all over.
Yeah.
So there are certain things that I looked at you as the man that you said you were or are. I also had to make sure that your actions did justify your words.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. We're going back to dating, right?
Hmm.
Why is it important to celebrate new things? Which is the not another point that we're trying to tell you guys. You should celebrate small things with your partner. It is important because you go throughout life, throughout your everyday life, fighting these little mini battles, overcoming these little everyday obstacles
Hmm.
that almost seem mundane, but you have to acknowledge them. Just like you're being grateful for the things that you go through every day. So it's important to celebrate them.
Hmm.
Something that maybe is not such a big deal, but you overcame it or you accomplished it. It's important to celebrate that because that brings you guys closer. It's
Hmm.
like a reason to. That is a perfect reason to take your partner on a date. That is a
Hmm.
perfect reason to spend time with each other. That's a perfect reason to remind yourself, okay, we've accomplished something.
Hmm.
Let's move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Because if you just establish that one goal, like 6 months from now, that's the only thing that matters. Yeah, but there's certain steps to get to that end goal 6 months from now. It's just a good reminder to like, oh look, we're 2 months out of 6 months in, but look how much we've already accomplished.
Hmm.
That's the way at least I look at it.
And whether it's together you've accomplished it or
Mhm.
individual,
Mhm.
you know, having there are times where even just little dinners that we make at home,
Mhm.
we'll buy a glass of wine and just cheers. Cheers to the week. Cheers to making sales. Cheers to new clients. We're always in a gratitude state. And just like in the Bible, they talk about when you're in a gratitude, grateful state, you're going to be given more. You're going to be blessed with everything else because God, universe already sees how thankful you are. And that's why it's important that the love that we feel is felt first before anybody else tries to come in. Because it's not gonna last that, oh my gosh, he loves me. I'm waiting for validation from him to love myself. It doesn't work that way.
I agree.
It's just like a band-aid. It's gonna eventually just rip off.
No, you don't want to ever place your happiness in somebody else's hands.
No.
Heard this somewhere recently. It says in the Bible that I believe the Bible talks about stay in a state of gratitude
Hmm.
and your anxiety will go away. If you just enter the state of gratitude, your anxiety will go away. And I was watching this video. I think science recently proved that the same portion of your brain that's responsible for anxiety and worry is also the one that's responsible for being grateful. So it only makes sense. You utilize it to be grateful for things that you have in your life. There'll be no room in that part of your brain for anxiety.
Hmm.
My morning routine consists of that. Every day I wake up and part of my morning routine is, saying my gratitudes. Literally, it's like if you have a certain amount of space in a cup, right? And you can only pour in, I don't know, 8 ounces of water in a glass. If you put 8 ounces of gratitude, there's going to be no more room for
Exactly.
anxiety.
Hmm.
It's as
Stress,
simple as that.
worries.
Exactly. So just it's a good reminder now, like, okay, cool. Today is a tough day. Things are not going my way. But I know that today I woke up and I'm blessed with
Hmm.
this, and list goes on. So it's like when you look at it this way, it's like, things are not so bad. I'm gonna continue pushing forward.
And that's why it leads to the partnership. Because if you are having a hard day, which you have me to back you up and support you and pour into you with my positive words, with my uplifting support, right? Because sometimes our own thoughts are tough and we can't get ourselves out of that dark circle, that dark little thoughts. You know, there's been times where you're just like, stressed up in here and I'm like, hey, remember, we're not going to use those words. Okay, talk it out or watch what you're saying. Okay, that you're creating the thought that hasn't happened yet. So how about we replace it with something else? And it's getting into that habit of having those open conversations. And this is where the trust comes in. This is where you start allowing yourself to speak out and trust into me that I would reassure you and pour more positive words to change your perspective. But if you don't trust me enough because I'm going to retaliate or I'm going to put you down or I'm going to talk crap to you, you're going to ball back up and you're going to consume those negative thoughts, and then those thoughts are going to deteriorate you and it's going to break you down and it's going to distract you from doing your work the proper way. So there's going to be times when I need that. So I need you as a man to understand that you have to make sure that you're aligned with your thoughts and your words, because there's going to be a time where I need that help from you, and you have to understand that, because it's not a one-sided thing. We're a team here. So this is why asking the questions of how is your mind? Also learning affirmations. This is why the men also need to do this. When say the time I get pregnant, I'm sure it's gonna be tough because of the hormones. Who knows what kind of hormones are gonna come up. But if you're in tuned with, okay, you know what? Her words of affirmation her love language is words of affirmation. So I have to learn how to pour my words into her because it fills her tank up even more. And then there's not going to be any anger. Of course, we can't have that for the child because what's going on the outside is being felt in the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to get tough. But this is why we're learning these things now, so that we can make sure that we are doing things the proper ways that unfortunately our parents didn't have. So now we are the resource. We are the ones to set those grounding foundation for our children, to instill the love in them. Yes, it's not going to be easy, but as long as we're both on the same page, you're right there, you fall asleep.
Start thinking about something else for a second.
So yeah, that's where it's a teamwork.
Start thinking about kids.
I know your eyes started to...
No, because after yesterday, being surrounded, being handed over a baby.
I know.
By our friend, we go to a party and there's a bunch of couples with kids, and as soon as we walk in, our friend is like, "Here's your Uncle Alex. Go to him." And I was just handed a baby, which was awesome. And I just started thinking about playing all day with that baby.
Yeah, but does that make sense?
Chunky little guy. Yeah. No, I definitely agree, especially the kids part. Which is actually another important thing. I don't know what it's like to find time to date when you have kids. Obviously not yet. But I think it's just as important. I mean, well, in the first few years of their life, like, who do you pawn them off to? Your parents or something, or nanny? But what is the thing that they kept telling us yesterday? Or you feel like you're not gonna have time. Your time is not your own time anymore. So I don't know. That kind of scares me a little bit.
Oh, that's the thing. Everybody is on their own journey. People are gonna say the same thing about Jim.
Yeah, huh?
That goes back to, okay, you're not putting yourself first. Oh, you don't understand. You don't have kids. I don't, but I also don't have excuses. So if I'm gonna create the habit now of not having these excuses, I'm going to plant the seed to create better experiences for myself as a new mom. But it's those people that have that, they just want to be negatively right. Of like, negatively
right.
You're, it's going to be hard. You're not going to, like, don't put your, like, negative shit into my head. Stop. There's too much of that shit. No. How about you do it the opposite and still powerful words and encouraging words. Don't try to scare these moms and say, oh, you're not going to have time. I'm sorry, Debbie Downer. Just save your shit for you. I'm sorry you went through that. I'm really, really sorry you went through that. But don't try to put your negative experiences on me. Maybe turn it and flip it and use what you've learned and teach other people now what you've learned so that you can give another new mom a better experience. Because that's why we're here. We're here to experience life in our own realm and suggest, okay, well, if I could go back, maybe I would do this. But again, people don't understand that your words are your seeds. And your subconscious mind is going to either accept negative or positive, white or black. So if you accept that, oh, I can't do that, oh, I'm not going to have time, well, then I'm not going to have time because my mind's going to think, oh, no, you're not going to have time because Susan and Brittany and, I don't know, just making up names. Like, they're saying that they didn't have time.
Yeah.
And then people wonder why you don't have friends. Well, I don't have friends. I have friends. Shut up. I have
I'm your only
friends.
friend.
You're my best friend.
Wow. That's funny.
But yeah, like going to the gym, like I'm so glad you and I both go to the gym. Because that is hard. That is freaking hard.
What?
Going to the gym. When you're not in a habit, it's hard. And if it's just one, again, if you are in a partnership with somebody, it's inevitable. You guys are going to mirror off of each other. Well, he's not working out, so why am I going to work out?
I tell that to all these dudes all the time. Just even today, I was having a conversation with one of the guys, sort of coach, and I'm like, dude, no, it was last night. It was last night, and I was telling him like, man, you have to become the type of person that she would want to follow, she would want to listen to, and like one of our friends who stepped on his fitness journey. He lost some weight, and he told me like, hey man, like now my wife is like, well, maybe I should start working out too. You did that too. When a year and a half ago, when I went through my transformation, you stepped up your gym game big time. Yeah, you started hitting the gym harder. You're like, look at my man's. My man's is fine as hell.
I mean, I didn't say all that.
I better
Calm
go
down.
match him. I better step up my fitness game because my man's is
lucky
fine.
for you, I was already naturally given the shape. I just had to tone it up.
Naturally.
Kidding.
No,
I'm just
I mean, just being honest. Like I did notice that about you, and I think that's what they mean when they say when a man is the leader of his house, his family follows. When you're a leader in your relationship, your woman follows. When you're a leader in your house, your family follows.
See, and I was already doing that before I met you, going to the gym, working out, but then I just slacked off. It wasn't an all the time thing because I didn't see it in my realm growing up. I had to start creating those changes for myself. And so when you and I started dating, and I also knew and noticed that you were working on yourself, it made it easier for me to go back to my healthy habits because I knew then that you were also on the same path. Because you are who you surround yourself with.
That saying is so cliche, but so true. So true. I can't. If people just understand one simple thing, cater your own environment. Cater to what your body, your mind, and your spirit consumes. Look at what kind of friends you hang out with. They don't have to be horrible people, but just look at where they're at in life. If you're okay with where your friends are at in life, then stick around with them. But if you want a better life, just start putting yourself in places and positions
or read different books.
Read different books.
Watch
Essentially, a book is just somebody else's thoughts on paper.
Yep.
Somebody else who you want to learn from just put a bunch of thoughts on paper, and now you have access to it into their brain.
Yep. And that's exactly why I'm so happy and grateful that I've created this nail studio. Because that's exactly what I share when clients come in. Because I know that we need that as women. We need to pour more powerful, positive words into women right now because they're trying to push on this feminist what is it?
Agenda.
Movement agenda on women. And then they start
Oh,
doubting
they
their
already pushed
gifts
that thing
as
a long, long
women.
time ago.
Like, no, we don't need to have that. I don't need a man mentality. We do
That
need men.
phrase is so dumb, so dumb. I can't. It just. I don't. I think whatever woman says that she doesn't need a man, it has some serious and significant mental challenges.
Because they're being pushed by this ideology of making more stronger women.
You can be a strong woman, doesn't mean you have to walk around and say I don't need a man. Like you don't ever see a man saying I don't need a woman. Like any man, you ask any man will say yeah I need a woman.
Because it's easier to manipulate a woman.
Yeah, because they're emotional. I
Hmm.
mean, you're sitting there, these women sit there, right, in a studio or a place or an office that was built by a man, that's supported by electricity and light that they're provided by a man, have water access that drove there in a car built by a man on the roads that are paved by a man, wearing the makeup that was dug up and created by a man, sitting there telling me I don't need a man. Well, everything that's on you and probably that was in you last night came from a man.
Wow.
Hey,
Can we please keep it PG-13?
I kept saying PG-13 is possible. I'm just saying,
Right,
it's
right,
true. It's
right.
true.
Hmm.
So it's ridiculous when I hear that. It makes absolutely no sense to me when I hear that. And that's where we are. That's where we are today in society. It's just, this kind of stupidity is not only accepted but is also promoted. When you have people like Whoopi Goldberg and
Because
whatever that morning show
it's
is,
getting the women against the men. And what happens is when the women are against the men, there's no unity. There's no unity. They want us to be separated.
divided. Yes, yes. Well, men didn't pick women as an enemy. Women picked men as an enemy. Yeah,
Why? Because of the emotions.
like the whole bear in the woods, bear or man in the woods situation. Man, I think some of those people need serious mental evaluation.
Maybe it's in the
Serious
food.
mental evaluation.
All the sugar they ate
It
as
probably is in the
kids
food. Is in the food. Yeah, it's in the food
to
and it's the stuff they
manipulate them. I
watch
don't
and it's,
know.
I have no idea. Like why? It's a wild animal. You either don't understand how dangerous the bear is, or you don't understand how beneficial a man can be to you, or you're so dumb that you don't understand either. You think a bear is a cuddly, cute animal, and a man is a vicious
And the more
monster.
and more they push this, feminists and women don't stand up to stay in their feminine, it's over.
It is over. That's why the what do you call it, the birth rates are so low and the
Yeah.
divorce rates are going higher and higher.
Yeah.
Men are not the problem. I mean, if men were the problem, technically speaking, let's look at numbers, right? Like 50% of heterosexual marriages end up in divorce, a little
Here's
more
the
than
thing.
50. But then you have 75% of lesbian relationships end up in
Here
divorce.
is my rebuttal.
Rebuttal
Okay?
is this: men are not the problem. Rebuttal that.
It doesn't have to be men, it doesn't have to be women. Everybody is responsible for their own actions, okay? If more women focused on being more women and men focused on being more masculine men, okay?
Yeah.
That's it. Stay in your lane. Focus on how you can be a better man, protector, provider. Women, stay in your lane. Learn how you can be more feminine. Take up more classes on how to have women etiquette. Learn more about how to be loving and nurturing so that you can give that to yourself so that you can pour that into someone, into your partner. But what?
I just thought about something funny.
What?
So you know how I mentioned the word women's etiquette.
Mhm.
You know what a lot of these girls, modern day women have
What?
a hoe etiquette.
And this is what I live with.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, they sure have a lot of that going on. And it's not as bad as my torta joke the other
Oh
day.
my gosh. Stop.
It was a
Okay.
good one. It was a
All
good
right,
one.
that was a good one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't even
but-
share that one. We both laughed. Look.
But I'm not trying to be right. I'm just saying that's just what it is.
No, you're right.
They're
I'll
distracting
admit that.
women by saying they need to be more masculine. No, you don't need to be more masculine. You just need to level your shit out. Okay? Men need to learn how to be more
Men
providers,
do need to learn
protectors.
how to be. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is all it is. This is the separation that they're wanting to divide us all. Because when
Hmm.
there's division, there isn't the money's also not going to be flowing. Because money
Yeah.
is energy. And when a woman is distracting a man from making money, then what happens? They're broken.
Well,
There's
to a
like,
lot of times, successful men just don't want to deal with it. Like, I know that I went through a period of my life where I was like, I'm not gonna have a serious relationship. I'm comfortable in a position where I can afford many women and I don't have to deal with them at all.
but see, it shouldn't be dealing with a woman.
Exactly. I agree with you. But then I'm just explaining to you the train of thought that a lot of successful men have. Why they can afford and they have the accolades and the status to acquire many women, and they have the benefit of not have to deal with them long term. You see what I'm saying? That's
Exact.
why men are dividing into two categories now. There's losers, and there's the ones who have access to many women, and they're just like, I don't want to deal with the emotional part of it.
But
I'm not saying it's the right thing to do.
mhm.
I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm just saying there's becoming a clear separation of this 1 or 5% of men versus the rest of the men. And you know who helped create this massive gap? Women. Women, especially those who complain, who want to date the 1% of men, they're the ones who are directly responsible for creating this massive gap between average dudes and the 1%ers. Because the 1%ers dude existed and will always exist because men are competitive. Men like competing ended up on top and leveling up in life. But there's a vast majority of good-hearted, kind, masculine, average men. But who shits on them nowadays? Society and women. So they create this massive gap, and now they're complaining, "Oh my God, there's not enough men." Well, that's why there's not enough men out there for your liking because you keep shitting on them. See what I'm saying?
But you don't see my perspective. I'm trying to tell you that yes, men see women as what? They're you rather have multiple than to have just one peaceful.
Me personally, obviously not. But I'm as a person who's had both. I understand why both happen. I understand why I did what I did. I understand why I choose what I choose right now. Obviously, right now, I'm in a point of my life where I'm more mature, where what I'm experienced in life, and I realize that there's more value for me in dating and loving one woman. It benefits me, my mental state, my family, and overall, this is a lot better for me. But I was that guy, and I know why I did it, and I know why other dudes do it.
Okay, so then we just have to accept that women and men need to be promiscuous in order to learn their faults.
To a certain extent, I would even say yes. It's probably might even be necessary evil type of thing.
So,
So I can't be a hypocrite and say no because I was that dude. So I can't
okay,
say no.
so in order for you to learn that you just wanted one woman, you had to be a 304.
Like a man version of 3 or 4. But that's
Yes.
the thing. It doesn't exist.
Here's the thing.
It doesn't
So you
exist.
couldn't get that recognition as a man because you had multiple
I
girls
never
or
did it
they're
for
just.
recognition. That's the difference.
But that's the thing. How would you learn your mistakes if you didn't have access to multiple women? So again, it's happened for you to learn a lesson. Some of these people have to go through these shitty
Yeah.
situations so that they can learn. So it's not a
But some
woman's
people find their
fault.
partner right immediately and they stay
Exactly.
married
But that is
forever.
why I'm saying we need to spread more on loving yourself first, which is the kids, which is it starts with couples, it starts with yourself. In order to have that love within, you're not going to want to spread your legs to multiple people to figure
Yes, you
out
know your value. Yes, you
exactly.
know your
So that is
value.
why instead of continuing to bring up what girls are doing, what guys are doing, how about we just figure out what we can do better so that our future children, we break that generation where you stop going to go be a hoe or stop being a dick and start being an asshole so that you're not breaking multiple people's hearts and women aren't having to go towards multiple women or men. Do you see what I'm saying?
That is true, but also there's a lack of people who can teach him that. Who there's divorce rates are like hitting 60%.
But if we continue to focus on the negative of what has happened in the past and started having more conversations on how we can be and do better, we'll start getting more people attracted to those type of conversations and those
Yeah,
type of platforms.
true.
So there needs to be a stop of like, okay, we're not going to continue to give acknowledgement to these 304s because they're doing more X, Y, and Z. Well, how about we start having better conversations so that we can lift one another? Don't continue to put a girl down because she's a whore. Okay, well, maybe she didn't have that because of how she was born. Well, maybe her parents didn't learn or know any better. So she's around that.
But there comes a time in everybody's life, whether you're a man or a woman, where you now become an adult
Right.
and you should be responsible for your
Exactly.
actions. So
Exactly.
maybe I will justify, well, I'll use that excuse on somebody, some girl who's still young and she came from very unfortunate circumstances, didn't have a father, or a father was alcoholic, or she got molested, whatever. There's really, really bad things that happen out there. But if you don't come from those circumstances and you choose to be an OF, 304, and you choose to do what you do, I'm sorry, but you are that type of woman. And you are most likely going to get old one day and die alone with cats.
And so,
Like, you can't keep giving them these excuses. We are what we are today because we've given so many excuses to both men and women, boys and girls of these last two generations. And this is where we are. We have zero accountability. We have weak ass men running around, and we have a bunch of hoe ass women running around. Let's just face the reality.
right.
So I agree with you. We need to talk more about it. We also got to point out the behavior that's bad. We got to talk about it. And men talk about it a lot more than women talk about it. I can tell you, like, even if I've come across some dumb men podcasts, right? But the dumb part about that was like talking about fighting and partying and some certain illegal aspects of life and showing off. And then I come across some dumb female podcasts, like there's the ones dedicated to sex, OnlyFans, cheating men, sleeping with any men. Like that is just degrading.
Right.
Like that's all. It's so sounds so stupid, so disgusting that they don't even point realize that it's just nasty. And the saddest part of that is that men are buying into it, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
pisses me off. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of comments from these losers out there who just praising these women and saying, all kinds of compliments and throwing money at them. That's what pisses me off too. There's just a whole army of losers out there who also don't realize that they are who they are, and someone needs to step in and help them wake up, slap them around a couple of times, knock some sense into them, make them get off their ass, hit the gym, take care of their diet, take care of their mind, take care of their spiritual well-being and their finances. And that's the problem. It's a circle that keeps repeating itself over and over again until, like you said, someone needs to step in and something bad needs to happen. Where it's like, all right, maybe we need to look back. And it's actually happening right now. There's a lot of women out there that are speaking up more. You're one of them. Out there in general, they're like, no, 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 no. We don't want that. We don't want this whole equality. We don't want this whole masculinity. We don't. No, we want to stay at home, cook, clean, and be protected and be provided for and take care of kids. Like they're waking up hard to some hard realities of life. So
Yeah. I just think it's upsetting that a lot of young girls are allowing these thoughts, but it starts with the mothers. And because the mothers are tainted with husbands who are doing shady things behind the family's back, having a whole ass family, but then that brings me to the thought of, well, that's happening for you, not to you.
for the mother
Mm-hmm.
or for the child.
For both.
Yeah, I think if both parents take enough responsibility for their actions, then just people jump into relationships so quick, man. They have kids so quick. Like, fix yourself, dude. Fix yourself. Establish a good relationship. Try your best to help your partner get fixed, and then bring children to this world. Like, we know people who have a baby to hopefully save their relationship. It's like, dude, that's dumb. And the relationship doesn't work out, and now you have a child and who doesn't have a father, and you're not able to support them. You continue to talk shit, and what's the benefit? Did that child did not save your relationship?
Hmm.
I don't know. Who am I to judge?
Yeah, it brings you back to facing your trauma at an earlier state in your life so that you're able to catch it before it stems on into your children. And
Mm.
even then, it's an
Mm-hmm.
ongoing
Mm-hmm.
process. It's
Mm-hmm.
a journey. And getting and planting your seed with, okay, if you're going to be on YouTube, search for self development. Search for things that can feed you and pour into you than to distract you from becoming your higher version for yourself.
There's literally so much stuff about self development on YouTube. There's really no excuse.
Mm-mm.
If you have if you have any kind of access to internet, whether it's from your phone, your tablet, your computer, your laptop, whatever, you should go on YouTube, you should go online, or you should go on Google, and you should start watching, researching, reading about self development
Mm-hmm.
and healing your trauma,
Mm-hmm.
specifically your childhood trauma.
Yep.
People are just too lazy, they're too distracted. It's
Their
like
attention spans are just very minimal because they're so crowded with having to do so much that they rather give an excuse because it's quicker and it's easier.
mm-hmm. Yeah. What is that photo that we saw on the web one time where there's two windows, two kiosk windows,
Mm-hmm.
and one says for people who I forgot. One says like for people who want to fix themselves,
Mm-hmm.
for people who want to be distracted to forget about their pain, and the
Yeah.
one that distracts people from is a long, long line, and
Mm-hmm.
the kiosk window that says people who want to fix themselves is
I
non-existent.
said something. I had this thought earlier.
You texted to me.
No, I wrote it down. I have a little, it's called thoughts
You mean notes?
in my notes, and I write down
Damn,
all.
how much
Wait,
you
you
wrote
see
that,
all that
girl?
stuff?
What is this?
It's all my thoughts. When people finally make the conscious decision to accept the concept that your words become your reality, you'll begin to be more intentional about what comes out of your mouth.
Yes, definitely. Does that include my cursing?
Yes.
Damn it. Well, fuck that.
I mean, you experience karma,
Oh.
so let's just keep it at that and not that
I don't
detour
know,
off the
man. Sometimes
conversation.
I just
But
need to express my
I
feelings
understand that,
with
but it
cursing.
again, that's here to teach you. You need to learn that.
Yeah, I know.
So instead of being upset about it, whenever a situation comes in and it brings us down to a lower vibration where it makes us angry or sad or insecure, those are the things you need to work on.
True. That's true. Yeah. 'Cause
So
anger,
when you
frustration is a lower vibration.
change the narrative, instead of staying angry, you remind yourself, okay, I'm getting angry because it's something that I need to work on. That's my trauma. What is it like? Maybe I need to use better words. Maybe I need to change my perspective on being a little bit more empathetic. Switch it with the positive. How can I switch that emotion of anger, which is a lower vibration, and change it into something positive? How can I change my mindset to think, okay, well, this situation is happening for me so that I can learn something right now. Maybe I need to learn a new language. Maybe I need to learn how to structure the business better. Maybe I need to ask for help. Maybe I need to get other resources instead of getting upset.
Yeah.
And this is why it's required of a woman to be in her divine state so that she can know these things and so that it creates this wise mentality within her so that she can portray that into her partner and so that that is another way that she supports him. And if he's not in his divine masculine state, he's not going to accept that and use that and work on that so that he can become a better protector and provider. Because if he's too distracted by, no, I'm right, she doesn't know anything, then he's not helping himself. He's
That's
just
true.
distracting himself from becoming a better version for himself.
It all comes down to just understanding that if your partner says something and you truly dissect it and you understand that it is for your best, then yeah, you might as well just shut up and try to fix it.
And that's why you have to be intentional with your
Hmm.
relationship. Because if your intentions are to just get one thing, that's exactly what you're going to get. If
Hmm.
it's for a negative emotion while you're in a relationship, that's exactly what you're eventually going to mirror. And it's exactly why you're not really having a healthy relationship, because you're not talking, you're not
Vocalizing.
vocalizing what you need, and you're not doing that for yourself. But it all goes back to who you are. But if you're not that for yourself, you will never be that for anybody else.
Yeah.
So when you're single, instead of worrying about why don't I have a partner? Why isn't anybody wanting to date me? Why isn't anybody, well, first of all, let's get back to it. Can you write down some positives and some negatives that you feel about yourself? But people don't even want to start doing that because that's work. They don't want to come to terms with what it is that they like and what it is that they don't like. Like, you don't have to show anybody that list. You write that list and you look at it and you face it and you decide what it is that you need to work on, because nobody can tell you what to do. You, even if they do tell you what you need to do, you need to process that and accept it within before it even becomes a thing. Again, your words are your seeds. Drops
Hmm.
mic.
You don't say that. How am I supposed to say that?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well,
But it's true.
no,
I'm
I agree. I
sorry.
agree. We did let's wrap up this episode. We did digress a little bit, but I think we still talk about a very valuable point. And here you guys have it. We did talk about why it's important to date your partner, whether you're dating, whether you're engaged, whether you're in domestic partnership or you're married. It is important to keep that spark going. It is important to keep that relationship going. It is important to take each other out, to love on each other. It's important to dedicate time to each other, to dedicate a certain night of the day or a certain night of the week to each other, and just pour into each other. Because at the end of the day, even if you have kids, before your kids came about, it was still just the two of you. So it's important to keep that going between the two of you, because then when you love on each other, you can create
You
a
keep that
family,
bond.
keep that bond,
You're
and don't
showing,
don't lose it.
you're also showing and creating habits for your children. You're
Yeah,
creating
yeah,
them
that's a good point.
to love themselves first,
Because they're
because
gonna
they
grow up and
see
see.
that you're
Yeah,
loving each other, you're loving yourself
yeah.
by yourself, and you're able to set the standards and the boundaries for
Mhm,
them.
mhm,
And when you say, okay, we're going to work out, mommy has her workout,
mhm,
here's your workouts. And
mhm,
then they look at you and they just,
mhm.
they
Yeah.
practice. They want to be you.
Monkey see, monkey do.
So
Yeah,
you might as well
yeah.
start it now. Create those habits.
There you go. There you go. For those of you with children who say that you don't have time, this is probably the biggest reason why you should find time for each other as partners, as husband and wife or whatever you are. And it's important for your children to see for that reason, because that you want to pass that on to them, so they have higher standards for themselves when they look for a partner in life. Yeah.
And that's how individuals can break those generational
Curses. Yeah.
uh,
Trauma.
trauma behaviors,
Yeah.
is creating them now, even though you have kids.
Mhm.
Like, it's
Yeah.
hard work. Yes, any habit is hard
That
work.
makes it a must now. That
Yeah.
makes dating, whether you're married and have kids, is a must, because you want to pass that on to your children as well. That. There you
And
go.
make it in a habit. Whether
Yeah.
it's meditating, hey, we have a date to meditate.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we'll start doing now. Instead of going out to eat, we'll have a date to meditate.
Yeah. Well, we'll
Because
talk about that. I don't know
those are
about the whole
creating
date to
habits.
meditate. My ass. Creating date to meditate.
Hey, that's the only way you're going to get closer to God, to hear what he has to say to you. So whether you want to accept it or not, you're going to
Yeah.
have to, because that's what's going to align you to what your
Yeah.
truest purpose is.
True. Well, anyways,
On
I
that
think
note,
on that note, before we continue dropping mics, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It's been a while since we recorded the his and hers version, but this is for you guys.
Came
We're
back with a
not
bang.
we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not sharing any kind of secret information with you guys. We're not selling anything to you. We're literally simply sharing the stuff that we do in our relationship that works, at least works for us, and we know other people who it works for. So that's all we're doing. I hope you gain some value from this episode, and we'll see you guys next time.
Toodles.